And it is the who's who of road running as we just take a look at some of those names. I mean, Dennis Kipruto Kameto, who had the world record in the marathon, I think it was back in 2014 when he set a time of around 2:04. And just looking at how the progression of that world record has gone all the way to where it is now. I mean, he really is a key part of the history of the marathon.
Yeah, I mean, it's also about excitement and injecting some life into the race. And so you get a man who ran a world record, yes, it was 10 years ago, but he's still a former world record holder. We want to see whether or not he can perform somewhere close to his best a decade ago. Maybe Kaya Franz of South Africa is there, the defending champion as well, Kebede, who won last year, is there. So there is quality, and a few 205 men in this, the two Ethiopians, Mama, I beg your pardon, and Adera, watch them today.
Yeah, we're certainly hoping for some wonderful performance today, despite the weather conditions. But as far as that ladies' field goes, good to see that the defending champions, actually in both the men's and the women's races, have returned, and they've made their intentions very clear indeed about what they want to achieve today.
Very key to get the defending champion back in there, because they will have something to run for, a reason to win, to try and defend that title. From a South African perspective, I think Glen Rose Thabo making her marathon debut is one of the most hotly anticipated marathon debuts we've had in a while Sean Oldknow, who was at the Olympic Games, has got one of the best season bests at 2:25. Let's see if she can go with that punch. 2:24 is the women's course record. Perhaps they can get close here today.
Oh, let's hope that South African can race to victory in that women's race. But let's cross over now to Kriya again, and she's managed to catch up with more of the elite athletes.
I'm standing here with Dennis, a world record holder. What are you expecting from today's race?
Today I'm expected to run good. I prepare well. I think I run good. Yeah.
What makes the Cape Town Marathon so special? It's a really great race today, but going to be a bit tough.
Yeah, maybe I can try because I know this course, but I expect to run good. Yeah.
Right. Well, Dennis, I wish you all the best of luck today.
Okay, thank you so much.
Dennis will be looking to roll back the years today and put in a star performance. Interesting, you were mentioning earlier about the women's race, and we spoke about Glen Rose Thabo with an attempt to do really well in a marathon debut. I mean, how many marathons do you need under your belt to really get to that peak marathon performance?
How long is a piece of string? And I think for some, they will find that they take to the marathon very naturally. First, second or third attempt already running some of their best times. Others, it's more of a learning and takes as many as a number of years to master. So there is no one size fits all solution, and I think it depends on her individually. I think she'll probably have a pretty good debut given the fact that she's got a solid base coming from the half marathon. And she has trained with some former marathon athletes and has a pretty good cap. So I think she'll have a decent debut if she can get over the finish line. And that's the main thing about a marathon. First things first, finish, and then see what time you can deliver.
Well, Sean Oldknow has also said that she's hoping that she and Glen Rose can really push each other and really just try and achieve something special today. How important is it to have somebody that pushes you?
Very important, and in the women's race I think we're more likely to see them working together, especially some of the South Africans and some of the runners who have personal bests around the 2:25, 2:26 mark. We have some a former world champion, the Ethiopian, there's a little bit faster, but perhaps a best form 2 or 3 seasons behind her. So they are all more evenly matched around between 2:22 and maybe 2:26, and we could see them running together and working together for possibly a course record if the wind can just die down slightly.
Well, I'm just feeling the goose flesh rising around my body, just the strains of us in Bonanga behind us. I mean, Johnny Clegg's song that he wrote entitled We Have Not Seen Him, which of course relates to Nelson Mandela when his image was prohibited around the country. And I think it just stands so much for the diversity and exactly what this race stands for.
Yeah, precisely. And that's also part of getting that world marathon major status. It's also about the history of the place. And when you think of some of the iconic races like Berlin and so forth, this one as well, we are here where Nelson Mandela was released in Cape Town. So there's a lot to celebrate.
Well, let's rejoin Kriya now, where she's with Stephen Mokoka.
Thank you so much, Lee. And I am here with Stephen, who is a three-time winner and course record holder. Stephen, what are you expecting from today's race?
Firstly, I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful that Sanlam Cape Town in the process of trying to get into World Marathon measures. They've invited me today, but my role today is different. I'm going to be a pacemaker today because I'm not fully recovered from the Olympics. So hopefully that I can be able to take the guys with the designated pace.
Everyone's been talking a little bit today about the record and whether or not the record will be broken. Do you think it is going to hold out? I'm sure you're hoping for that.
I mean, with the pace that is required, if I'm able to cope with the wind, especially the first 15 kilometers, I believe the guys will run a course record today.
Well, thank you so much, Stephen, and I wish you the best of luck for today.
Thank you very much.
Well, Stephen McCorker, of course, a three-time winner of this event, the course record holder as well. So we'll see him as a pacemaker today. So hopefully he can pull through the guys to some wonderful times during the course of this one. But let's go upstairs now and join our commentary team for the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon.
National and international runners, your guests, our friends and families, I would like to warmly welcome you to the city of Cape Town. A couple of years ago I stood here and I said I will return and I will join you. So today I'm joining you for the 42.2 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. Regardless of your why, regardless of the personal best or the qualifying times or the charitable cause, we procured the best weather for you. Enjoy it. Enjoy all that Cape Town has to offer. And may we finish at the finish line together. Some a bit later than others, but I hope to see you on the road. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy.
For the Deputy Mayor of Cape Town. So to say, Bruce, walking the walk or running the run, and nice to see him taking part in the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon this morning.
Yes, he kept his word. He said he was going to come and run.
Beautiful rendition of the national anthem of South Africa there, and we can see some of our elite marathon runners there up in the front of the start line, but just in front of them is the elite wheelchair race, which will be going off very shortly. your defending champion there, Gert Schipper from the Netherlands, 47 years of age, but he is your defending champion. But Bruce, there's going to be quite some strong opposition, especially from the Japanese athletes this morning.
Yes, I spoke to Ernst van Dijk yesterday, and he said that the Japanese wheelchair athletes are particularly motivated because they were hoping to go to the Paralympics and they weren't chosen, so they all agreed to come to Cape Town.
Well, there is the starter's horn that has gone, and the wheelchair race is underway. As we mentioned, quite a strong field there. Athletes from Japan who you just said that had missed that Paralympics, and you can see one of the Japanese athletes straight to the front. But Gert Schipper is your defending champion right there.
Yeah, Gert very, very strong. But he mentioned earlier when he spoke to Korea that the wind is going to be a huge factor. Going to be a major factor. I wondered, I'm not a wheelchair athlete, but do they tuck in behind each other for the wind? I'm sure they do.
Well, former champion of the Cape Town Marathon wheelchair division, Ernst van Dijk, and he is here today as well, but not in action on the road. He is the elite wheelchair coordinator, but down on the start line, Korea has an athlete to interview.
I do indeed. I have Cheyenne with me. Cheyenne, you are the South African marathon record holder at the moment. Not yet?
Record. I'm the second fastest, but not yet the record holder.
All right, so we're going for it hopefully very soon. What are we expecting from today's race?
I'm hoping to do my best out there. It's a little bit windy, so I'm hoping to be able to go see where I'm at and really just enjoy the run and see how we can do out there together.
So everyone's talking about today's race going to be a little bit difficult. The conditions aren't completely ideal. At the moment, it looks amazing on the start line.
Yeah, it looks okay. It is a little bit windy, but I think we'll make the most of it.
All right, best of luck for today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that's Sean Oldknow, the second fastest female over the marathon distance at 2 hours and 25 minutes, coming from the Seville Marathon earlier this year in February. And there she is alongside former world champion Mare Dibaba from Ethiopia. She's the fastest lady on paper, 2 hours, 19 minutes and 52 seconds. Her personal best. The defending champion, Haile Selassie there next to her. Former world record holder, Bruce, there he is there, 40 years of age now, Dennis Kimetto, back in basically 10 years ago in 2014 in Berlin. He was the first man to run under 2 hours and 3 minutes with that 2:02:57.
Fantastic time. I wonder, can he rekindle that fire from 10 years ago? But I'm sure he's prepared. He said he's prepared. He said he's ready. Said he's excited. So, yeah, good luck, Dennis Kimetto.
And there is Yamane Tsegay, a former 2:04 marathon runner at his best, bronze medalist at the 2015 World Championships over the marathon distance. And next to Kimetto, with the white cap on, is one of the fastest men in current form, and that is Adedelu Mamo, who's got a PB of 2:05:12 from the Seville Marathon back in 2022. But here we are 3 minutes into the wheelchair race, and you can see that quite a strong bunch has formed up front, Bruce.
Yes, they're flying, but they're flying. They're so fast. The wind is a factor, and we're going to go on about it, I'm sure, throughout today. My hotel room, the window was rattling and the door was banging a little bit. I just hope that the wind dies down. And as we heard earlier from Mosabodi, hopefully fits and starts, and the wind's not too severe.
Well, there is your former world record holder there, Dennis Kimetto. Nice to see him back on the start line of a race. He's been out of action for some time, but he said that he is fit, training has gone well, and he's looking to run a good time there. You can see there in the black cap, that is a Glenrose Akaba, very interesting athlete who's making her debut here today in the marathon, and recently broke Ilana Meyer's 10-kilometer national record, where she ran 31 minutes and 12 seconds.
That says so much. You want to see the quality of somebody's marathon running. Have a look at their 5K and their 10K times, and when they're fast at 5 and 10Ks, they will produce a good marathon.
Well, coached by Violet and Costa Semenya up in Pretoria, and she's been really enjoying this marathon training and running really fast 10-kilometer PBs during that marathon training. But there you see Stephen Mokoka on the far right hand side, a 2-times winner, course record holder here of 2 hours, 8 minutes and 31 seconds. He's only a pacemaker today, Bruce. He has said that he's going up to 30 kilometers as Eddie Andrew, the Deputy Mayor there of Cape Town, starts the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. And the athletes underway, as we see at the back of the pack there, Adam Lipschitz from the Social Runners Club, ranked 3rd in the marathon this year, but he's just out in training today ahead of the Valencia Marathon.
Oh, he's made a name for himself as a pacemaker in marathons around the world, and that's just a new part of running. It certainly wasn't a part of my day, where they're actually experienced people who hire themselves out as pacemakers to take the race leaders through certain times. And I spoke to Stephen yesterday. He said he hopes to go through 21 in 63:15. That's 63:15, and set it up for them for a 2:6.
Yeah, so 63:15, that's the tempo that's been projected. But will they be able to do it on this course today with this wind?
Well, the pacemaker's job is to be also the windbreaker. You know, you've got to go in front, and you've got to make it as easy as possible for the runners who are going all the way through to the finish. And as he said, he's hoping to be able to keep that pace going till 30 k's, and then leave the guys to go through for 2:6.
And just for the viewers that are watching with us this morning on your World of Champions, we did meet Stephen Mokoka in the hotel yesterday, and for the viewers at home, he is allowed to finish the race. And we did ask him, Stephen, if you're feeling good at 30 kilometers, will you stay in this race? And he said, if there's only 2 or 3 guys with me, then it's race on.
It's race on, yes. Yeah, and there have been a few notable incidents in the past of the pacemakers staying right to the end and landing up in the prize money.
Just under 2 minutes into the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, and the athletes now on the main road. And you can see 2:04 performer Yamane Tsegay in the colours of Adidas right behind these 3 pacemakers, Dennis Kimeto in the middle of that pack. So the guys are going with the pace early on, or at least Tsegay at this stage, but a big pack forming behind them.
And Tsegay is exactly where he should be, you know, just with Stephen. Have a look at your watch at the 1 kilometer mark. That's very important. Are we on the right pace? Make the necessary adjustment early and then keep going.
The lady in the back of the pack with the long yellow compression socks, I mentioned her earlier, that is Gladys Chepkurui. I think she is going to be a very dangerous lady here, running her debut marathon. She is the fastest female in the field over the half marathon distance. 1 hour, 5 minutes and 48 seconds. She is going to be very dangerous.
From the elite women to the elite men now, for the first time at the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, the man they all came to see, the man who set the world of marathon running alight back in 2014 when he broke 2 hours and 3 minutes, Dennis Kimeto, 2:02:57 at the Berlin Marathon in 2014, also winner in Chicago and Tokyo. Can he add Cape Town to that and make it 4? And now he starts to lead, and this is wise from Dennis Kimeto, also sharing the load. And this is what's happening now with Stephen Mokoka having dropped out, our pacemaker. They're starting to share the load together. Moses Tarikinho also there, tucked in the green of the net bank. They are all there, the main contenders. But interestingly enough, for the first time in this race, the South Africans are starting to drop out, and only it looks like Melikaya France at the back of this bunch. Kimeto certainly now is driving the pace along, and they are having to work hard as Melikaya France now works wide, and he's also within his range. He's a 209 man, so if they are operating right now at probably around 210, maybe they've slowed slightly to 211, but Melikaya France doing the right thing here, not allowing the pace to slacken as he throws in a fartlek here and surges them to test out who's ready to go.
And this is a big surge from the man in the colours of Ikamva Running Club, lives and trains in Gqeberha, coached by the national coach Mark Mbambani. and he wants the guys to go. Is he just testing them, or is he going to be going the whole way as well as they make their way through towards the 25-kilometer mark? We've seen him do this a number of times, and as he's done this, you can see now this bunch is slowly but surely starting to come through, and the first man now that's being dropped at the back of that bunch is Dennis Kimetto, the former world record holder, who was looking very, very good. But with the surge by Melikaya France, he's the first up the back of the bunch.
Now, this is not surprising, this surge. This is a man who's got some 10-kilometer speed. Melikaya France Mhlekazi, man from Gqeberha. And this man, 209 at his best, is also someone who runs 28 low with regular consistency. He's pretty good about that, and recently has performed well out in his native Nelson Mandela Bay, and again ran a 28-minute 10-kilometer just about 2 weeks ago, a fortnight ago. So that shows that once again he is in good shape, and that was at the Bay Run with Discovery Vitality, where he ran that a 28 low. So he's getting back into the sort of shape we saw he was in two and a half years ago, and perhaps this could be the move. Or are they working back towards him now?
The gap definitely closing, but it's taken a few casualties by the surge of France there. The big man, former world record holder Dennis Kimetto, now at the back of that pack. This is Melikaya's second marathon of the year. He ran a 2:15:33 at the Milano Marathon in Italy earlier this year. But a good grab of the bottle there. As you can also see your defending champion in the colors of Adidas there, also in the group. But the bunch now back to Melikaya France, and will he be able to sustain this pace?
The job is done though. He has broken up that bunch where they were 9 or 10. They seem to be 6 or 7 now, and he settles back into that bunch. As we have a look at the wheelchair race, it's still a ding-dong battle between these two men, Cal Schipper and Watanabe of Japan. These two going hammer and tongs, and neither willing to wield yet. Now they're on their way back into the Kieran Walker loop of death, almost starting that one out, and they will soon be into the finish. And this is a fast section of the course, especially on the wheelchair, because the asphalt has been recently laid, and as opposed to the older part of the city in the southern suburbs, this one is very, very fast. Let's see who takes it here as we head back to the lead men.
Well, 1:16:47, the time there at the 25-kilometer mark by Melikaya France, and the pace is getting quicker and quicker and quicker. A projected tempo finish now of 2 hours, 9 minutes and 36 seconds. But you can see that that big bunch was obliterated by that surge of France. He is now at the back of that group. Oscar, the Ugandan athlete, Oscar Kibet, making his debut marathon, is trying to hang on to that bunch at the back, but it's not to be, as we see the Nedbank athlete Moses Tarikinyu, who's had success in Cape Town previously, winning the Total Sports Two Oceans half marathon, now dropping off. This is his second marathon. He ran a pedestrian 2:31 at the Durban Marathon earlier this year, which was his debut. But we're talking about a 61-minute half marathon runner who's now been dropped.
He's been dropped because they are moving. And I like the look of Tola there, the Ethiopian, the 205 man at his best. And this is going to be some team tactics possibly in play here. A number of Ethiopians in that bunch. 1 or 2 trying to work their way back into this lead bunch. Now they are 6. So Melikaya France did the important work there, surging them and making sure that he now tucks back in as they gather for yet another surge.
And the tall gentleman in the colors of Adidas in the front, Adisa Tola, very, very accomplished athlete. And you can say it runs in the family, because his brother is none other than Tamarak Tola, who just won the Olympic Games marathon in Paris. He's the winner of Dubai last year in 2 hours and 5 minutes. He never ran another race since then, but he's now in action in Cape Town, and he's commanding the lead.
Precisely, that's the Tola we said is looking good. And you can see he has a similar gait to the Tola, who not only is the Olympic champion and set a new Olympic record, but ran a fabulous New York Marathon last year, coming off the bridge and turning down, oh my goodness, in a new course record time, and certainly you have to pick your parents well, in the words of Bruce Fordyce, if you want to be an elite marathoner, and the Tolas have done that. Tola looking good now, taking up the work that had been done by Melikaya France. Tarikinho struggling there, fading into the distance in the green of Nedbank, trying to coalesce into this group. But this is a part of the course now which is also quite well shielded from the wind. They must use this opportunity, because coming back towards the City Bowl, it might get a little bit windy again as they run around the city on the foothills of the World Heritage Table Mountain. And if there's one place to race, then it has to be this city of Cape Town, because it also has a fabulous environment that is the jewel in the crown of South Africa's natural heritage. And don't forget that if the natural heritage is something that concerns you, certainly something that should concern all of us, then make sure that you tune in on the 6th of November for the Earthshot Prize, which is coming to Cape Town. And it's really about finding solutions to repair and restore our planet. An initiative pioneered by His Royal Highness, I beg your pardon, Prince William. And good to see the leadership of MultiChoice making sure that this one is taken up with vigor. Now, this is another fartlek here, another surge, certainly Tola making sure that they don't have time to rest, they don't have time to breathe, because now they are strung out into a line.
Well, now making their way through Salt River at the Newmarket Street, and this is a part of the course that is straight and fast, but the mind game's definitely starting to kick in now, as Tola, just as we saw a few months ago in Paris, his younger brother Tamara Tola making that break on his way to an Olympic Games victory and new Olympic record, and Tola looking very, very good. But Melikaya France, the South African hope, still in there, but he's hanging on.
So 6 men left, it's down to 6 men, and of these 6 men, 5 are Ethiopian, 1 is South African. This is the business end of the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. Who wants it? Who will hang in there longer? Our defending champion is still there. He's still there. And we remember how well Adani Kibere ran last year. He ran pretty much like this. He just hung in there. When Stephen Mokoka wound up the pace, he worked hard and hung in there. And you can see his head moving from side to side in that lilac Adidas strip. He looks like he's working hard. He is working hard, but that's also his natural gait. So don't be fooled. While Tola, the tall figure, looks majestic, looks relaxed, looks like the epitome of a long distance runner, Adane with the head moving from side to side does look to be a little bit more labored, but do not discount him, because he is a dangerous finisher. And I think if he's there with 2 or 3 kilometers to go, he's there for the win.
Definitely, and Adane taking that victory last year in 2 hours, 11 minutes and 28 seconds. And don't forget that he came down to a sprint finish with none other than Stephen Mokoka. And athletes around the world, especially the East African athletes from Kenya and Ethiopia, know that if you're in the final home straight with an athlete like Stephen Mokoka, you're going to come off second best, because the man has a kick. But Adane was the man who got the better of Stephen Mokoka last year. There's one thing for sure: last year's winning time is going to be obliterated in the men's race.
Yeah, it'll be faster than last year's winning time, and that's thanks to the work that was done initially, possibly after a slowish start because of the wind. Good work from 10 kilometer to the half marathon mark. Mokoka dropped out, and thereafter these men were left on their own. But a significant surge about 3 or 4 kilometers ago by Melikaya France has made sure that the pace stays honest now, as we have a look at the lead women.
And on the right hand side, the lead women have gone through the halfway mark in 72 minutes 17 seconds. That's a projected tempo of 2 hours 24 minutes and 34 seconds. So they are always getting faster and faster and faster, and if they can keep this pace, Glenrose Kaba is knocking on that SA record.
Glenrose Kaba knocking on the SA record. Glenrose Kaba also knocking on the course record. The course record possibly to fall here in the men's wheelchair race as well. These two have been going. It's Khatskip and Watanabe once again, and none of them willing to wield. Watanabe just tucking into the streamline, the slipstream, I beg your pardon, of Shepherd. And perhaps is this a move now? Looks ready to go as they come back round on that loop. And I think this could be the decisive move.
This could be the decisive move indeed, as Watanabe getting a little bit of a gap there. He is the man with the faster personal best. And when you talk about world marathon majors, this is an athlete who has competed in all of them. He's won the prestigious Tokyo Marathon. He's been on the podium at both the New York and London marathons. And his season's best is a 1 hour 26 minute marathon time from the Boston Marathon earlier this year in America. That was back in April. But just as we see that surge by Watanabe, Gert Skeepers, the defending champion, closes down the game. Well, from 7 men, it's gone down to 6 again. The 5 Ethiopians, together with Melikaya France from South Africa there. And we saw him make that big surge earlier. The bunch really was obliterated, and there have been many casualties, but so far he's been able to hang on to that pace. The men are getting quicker and quicker, and round about 2 hours and 8 minutes, 2 hours 8 minutes projected tempo, and they are only getting quicker and quicker. It would be very interesting to see once they make their way down to C points on that loop of death, as we've mentioned earlier, just how fast, Bruce, these men will start running.
Yeah, they're picking it up, which is, it's not often that the second half of a marathon is faster than the first half of a marathon. To do negative splits like that, that's incredible running, especially given that Stephen McCorkov took them at a really quick pace to halfway. But I love the Ethiopians. Just 5 of them and 1 South African. Of course, we want the South African to hang in there, but.
Well, there is the split at the 25-kilometer mark, and it is still South Africa's Glenrose Akaba who is making her debut in the marathon. And when you talk about the SA Marathon record of 2 hours and 24 minutes and 3 seconds, the projected tempo that Glenrose just went through the 25-kilometer mark is a finish time of 2 hours, 24 minutes and 3 seconds. She is bang on the national marathon record pace, and she's only getting quicker. I think Glenrose Akaba, if she can survive these last 10 or so kilometers, we may see another national record by Glenrose Akaba on the roads of Cape Town today.
That would be amazing. I wonder if Gerda Steyn is watching at home, watching and seeing her marathon being challenged, her marathon time being challenged.
And a big surge here in the men's race. The group of 6 with the lone South African is now down to 5. We have 5 athletes from the East African nation of Ethiopia, the powerhouse of distance running, and they are now flying. South Africa's Melikaya France, as you can see just in the back there of the picture, but these athletes are really flying now, and will be interesting to see. We're going through the 25-kilometer mark. They had picked up the projected tempo to 2:09, but just as you saw that big surge, they've now slowed down the game.
Yes, they seem to be surging and slowing, testing each other. Yes, Melikaya France looks like he's dropped, but then suddenly he looked like he was coming back again. But at this stage of the marathon, you do not want to let go. If you let go of the lead group now, you know that's capitulation. You're saying that's it. I can't stay with this anymore. It's important now to hang in there and still stay in that bunch. Our race winner will come from this bunch. Nobody's going to come from behind and catch them.
Most definitely. But on the left, we see our leading 5 men in the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. And on the right-hand side of the picture, just as we've seen from the start, Gert Skeepers in the front from the Netherlands. Your defending champion in the elite wheelchair men's race has been together with Watanabe from Japan, the man who has got many more accolades and around 10 minutes faster in terms of the personal best. But it just shows that the experience is coming down now, and Gert Skeepers off that bronze medal finish at the Paralympic Games, but not in a wheelchair race, in the para triathlon, is now back in pole position. We could be down to a sprint finish.
And they're on that loop of death that you spoke about, Kieran, heading towards the finish now. This wheelchair race has been so exciting. The entire race they've been going hammer and tongs at each other. It's been a ding-dong battle. I still wouldn't want to call it. Who's going to take this one? Yeah, it's really exciting, and they are approaching the end of the race.
And on the left-hand side of the picture there, here we go on to the main road, and we mentioned the sprint finish. It is the faster of the two, Watanabe from Japan, who's this is his first time also doing the Cape Town Marathon, so he won't know exactly the way into the finish, whereas Gert definitely does. You could see he almost thought that he had to make that left turn there, and Gert, knowing the course, I think we're going to come down for a thrilling finish to the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon.
Incredible finish. They did drive the course yesterday. I spoke to the wheelchair athletes. They had driven over the course and had a good look at it, but still, yes, Gert Skipper's got one huge advantage. He's done this before, and he knows exactly when he has to start going hard and when he's going to turn. Watanabe, though, is still hanging in there. It's incredible. It looks as if they're going slightly uphill here. They seem to be really working hard.
Well, on the left-hand side of your picture, that is Gert Skipper, 47 years of age, from the Netherlands, your defending wheelchair men's champion. And on the right, Sho Watanabe from Japan, 32 years old. He's got an accolade of accolades as he makes that left turn, and here is the sprint. It is Watanabe from Japan being followed by Skeepers. Can Skeepers close that gap? I think this is the winning move as Watanabe comes onto that blue carpet, and a thrilling finish to the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon in the wheelchair race, and it is Sho Watanabe, your champion. Well, what a thrilling finish we saw there in the wheelchair race as we make our way back to the leading men of the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. And Bruce, it was a group of 6, it went down to 5, it went down to 4, and it is now down to 3. Still, the tall athlete there, that is Abdisa Tola Adera, the younger brother of Olympic champion Tamarit Sola, who's looking very, very good. He's the winner of last year's Dubai Marathon in 2 hours and 5 minutes. Your defending champion, Adane Kebede Gebre, in the colours of Adidas, hanging on for dear life there. And on the right-hand side, it was Dekeba in the colours of Nike as they make their way through the company gardens.
Tola's been trying to get away. He's almost itching to get a gap, and he every now and again goes and puts in a surge, tries to get away, but the other two hanging in with him. We're in for a fantastic race. They've got probably half an hour to run, a little bit over half an hour to run to the finish.
Well, the leading men coming through, and the split at 30 kilometers, 1 hour, 31 minutes and 24 seconds. We have now increased the men's projected tempo down to 2 hours, 8 minutes and 34 seconds. But there on the right-hand side of the picture is our wheelchair men's winner, Sho Watanabe, who's added to his accolades of the marathon distance. He has won many of the World Marathon Majors, perennial podium finisher and former winner of the Tokyo Marathon. He competed earlier this year in Boston. He missed out on that Paralympic Games, as you mentioned, Bruce, and when they were not selected for the Paralympic wheelchair race, they called Ernst van Dijk, as you rightfully said, and they were saying, we want to be at the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. And the fact that a top athlete like that is making that call to come to the streets of Cape Town just shows that the organization here are doing the right things.
Yes, that's fantastic compensation for not going to the Olympics. Everyone wants to go to the Olympics, Paralympics want to go, but that's adequate compensation winning Cape Town, the wheelchair division.
Well, down to 3 men there, and it is Miktu Tafa Dikeba just in the front, as he has been for much of the race. He was the athlete on the right-hand side of the picture who was really behind Stephen Mokoka that whole time. But Tola and Kebede, the two athletes in the colors of Adidas. Kebede, of course, the defending champion, the short athlete at the back of that pack. But Tola looking very, very good. I almost want to say looking $25,000 richer as he would pick up for that first place. But not to forget, there's an extra $15,000 for a course record. And these men are right on that pace.
Pushing for it. But it's too hard to call. I wouldn't want to. Tola looks to me the strongest, but I wouldn't want to try and call it now. You'll get commentators' curse. And here we go. Yeah, $25,000 first, all the way down to $500 for 10th. So you've got to. You just, every single position that you can take, you get better and better prize money.
And if one of these three athletes can eclipse that course record of 2 hours, 8 minutes and 31 seconds, which they are on course to do right now after a very slow start, they'll pick up that extra $15,000 and run away with $40,000 for just over 2 hours and 8 minutes of work. But it takes a long time, a lifetime of work, so to speak, a full 4-month build-up, running in excess of 230 kilometers a week in order to perform at this level.
Yeah, week in and week out, with speed work and hill work and Ethiopia at high altitude, dedicated living, an almost monk-like life, really focusing on training, sometimes twice a day, long runs to build up the endurance, speed work, and then racing at shorter distances to make sure you're even quicker.
And he has another little surge there by Atafa after he made that right turn. And could our defending champion Adania Kebede be in trouble? He's still in that slipstream. As we say, it's Yaman Gwalayin, and they are really in that line. But he was as well watching the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. Just reminded that the TCS Amsterdam Marathon was also live on your World of Champions on a Variety 3, and starting at 8:45. And a lot of these athletes have run in that Amsterdam Marathon before, as we see Atafa just making a little bit of a surge there to the left, but Tola looking very, very good.
And I wouldn't completely write off our 4th place runner. The 4th place runner still in touch. And if any of these three drop off, he will immediately snatch 3rd place. So 4th place runner has not let go yet completely.
Well, big moves happening on the right-hand side of your picture there. As you can see, down to 4 women with the 5th woman just behind there, still in the yellow Puma vest. That is Glenrose Akaba, the South African, making her debut today in the marathon distance. She still has her pacemaker, Benedict Moyeng, former representative of South Africa in the marathon there with the black vest, just checking his time. Mare Dibaba, the short athlete in the middle of the picture, former world champion, 2:19:52 marathon runner at her best, in the long yellow compression socks. That is a Gladys Chipkarui making her debut in the marathon, 65:46 over the half marathon. And then, of course, in the Adidas colors of the purple strip there, Sige Haile Selassie Abrehe, your defending champion. She just missed out on that course record last year, finishing around 15 seconds off that. The ladies are operating at a 2:24 tempo and are getting quicker and quicker. If Glenrose can hold on for this victory and get that course record, she will also pick up the South African record. So a lot of incentives up for grabs today by Glenrose Akaba, and looking very, very good. As we see Pascalia Chepkai, the athlete there in the colors of Essex. I did think that was a Gladys Chepkarui, but it is a Pascalia who has not shown herself too much in the beginning of the race, but is now making her way forward. And she's got a marathon PB of 2 hours and 33 minutes back in 2019. So Bruce, she's really operating at a tempo that she's never been at before.
She's in another realm now. From 2:33 to 2:24 is a massive, massive improvement. So she's really in new territory, so to speak. But amazing to see our debutante. There she is, debut marathon. Glenrose still there, looking as if she belongs there, as if she's an experienced marathon runner. Of course, she's an experienced distance runner, but an experienced marathon runner. There she is, looking very comfortable and at home at this distance.
Looking very, very at home. at this distance indeed. As we see on the left-hand side of the picture there, that is your leading men down to 3. They are still chatting to each other as we see Glenrose Akaba in the colours of a Boxer Running Club. That's Puma Vest making her debut, but we can see that the defending champion has now fallen off the back. But down at the finish, let's hear from our champion in the wheelchair race.
Well, what a fantastic wheelchair race that was, a sprint to the finish, and absolutely incredible to have Shaw Watanabe here with us. Just explain to us quickly, we're just making use of a translator, in terms of Shaw's race, you know, it was pretty clear from the beginning that it was going to be a sprint to the line between him and Garrett. Was that the plan?
どうだったと思う？もうスプリントフィニッシュになる予定だった。
いや、途中で何回か逃げ試みたんですけど、でもやっぱりスタミナがあって強かったんで逃げ切れず、最後結局追いつかれてスプリントになっちゃったって感じです。
He was trying to actually have his own race, you know, earlier in the race, but unfortunately, you know, Kurt had a very strong stamina, so he couldn't actually, you know, take him off. Yeah, so he just came to the finish.
I think it was pretty clear to see as well that Gert was very strong on the uphill. So was he trying to open up a gap before you got to the climb to make up the difference?
The climb meaning about the garden, do you think? Or the, oh, yeah,
okay. 上りの前にやっぱりある程度やっぱりギャップをつけたいなっていう戦略だったって感じかな。
まあ僕の得意とするところが多分下りだったりそういうところなんで、そこでしっかり勝負できるようにっていうイメージだけ持ってました。
So, you know, his strengths like going downhill, you know, he just wanted to create as much gap as possible before the climb, as you said. But, you know, he had a very strong stamina, so it was a very close race, yeah.
Well, he's certainly won a lot of races already. I mean, back-to-back Tokyo marathons. Where does this one rate in terms of enjoyment and, of course, encouraging his friends to come and compete here in Cape Town?
これまでも東京勝ったりさまざまなコース経験していると思うんだけれども、ケープタウンのコース、その楽しめたかであったりとか、そのレースコースの内容としてはどうでしたか？
楽しかったです。でも風が今日は強かったんで、風がなければもうちょっといいタイムで走れると思うし、で集団が多ければ多いほど楽しいと思う。まあ今後風がない時に走りたいなって。
It was definitely an enjoyable course. It was very windy this morning, so unfortunately, like you know, they couldn't do much fast. They hoped they could do much faster time. Maybe it was the more pack, you know, will be competitive and more enjoyable maybe in the future. So hopefully he will be able to come back again and the race non-windy if possible in Cape Town again. Yes.
I'll try and order that for you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Well, back to the leading men, and it is a big break in the men's race. It is now down to Tola in the front with your defending champion Gebra just behind them. But as we saw on that interview with our wheelchair athlete who took victory today, Shaw Watanabe, it was his fellow countryman Kota Hokinori who came in for that third and final podium spot. But the men's race really hotting up now, down to 2 men. They are operating at a tempo of around 2:08 mid as we see our third place athletes, and that is Haftu Tafa, and he's been, Bruce, really up front for the majority of the race, but now starting to battle.
He's been right there, he's struggling now. You're wondering, will he hang on to that third place, because the fourth place runner's just behind him, hovering. And now the leading ladies.
Yeah, down now to 3 women in the leading pack there, and it is South Africa's Glenrose Kaba, and that projected tempo, as we see there, 1 hour 41 minutes and 46 seconds through the 30 kilometers. And for everyone that is watching on your World of Champions, you are witnessing history right now. The projected tempo based off the 30 kilometer split, and Glenrose Akaba is on a tempo of, wait for it, 2 hours 23 minutes and 3 seconds. So if Akaba keeps up this pace, she will then break the national record of Afghanistan by exactly 1 minute. So history being made here. We are seeing not only a tempo of a course record, but also a national record on the cards here by Glenrose Kaba.
Glenrose Dimakazo Kaba, Dimakazo Warmakata. She downplayed the talk of a national record. saying that all she wanted to do was complete her very first marathon, but she's operating on that marathon tempo. It is, though, at the end of the day, a marathon. How will she close during that last 5 kilometers? Because certainly in training she will have been this distance that she has been now, and you can see by that grimace on the pacemaker number 4 in the blue Nike strip that he's really struggling. That tells you that they're all starting to feel the pain. But Glendros Kaba looks oh so relaxed. So does Gladys Chepkirui, so does Dibaba as well. So these three all looking good. Who will win the race? Not sure yet, but certainly I think a new course record is probably safe.
Every summer has a story. It's set against breathtaking backdrops, filled with a collection of colorful characters, with loads of drama, entertainment, suspense, and unexpected twists and turns. This season, make it your story.
Didn't he love it? And why wouldn't you? Ladies and gentlemen, watch this. You'll not often see.
Supersport's unparalleled lineup of cricket coverage means you can be part of an exceptional summer of cricket with hours of non-stop action on offer. Only on your World of Champions.
A long-standing rivalry packed with fierce on-field face-offs that have electrified millions.
Brilliant. Tremendously entertaining evening. Loving it.
And a rematch over 4 months in the making.
It's India who win the T20 World Cup.
South Africa are home.
It's going to inspire the South Africans events.
Catch the T20 World Cup finalists going head-to-head in 4 action-packed T20 internationals. Live on your World of Champions. Head to cricket.co.za for all the ticket info. Wozanawe.
Get set for another blockbuster weekend of sporting action as Spanish giants collide in El Clasico. Ilia Topuria's UFC featherweight title is on the line, while the SA sides look to dominate in the URC. The Gunners and Reds go head-to-head in London. East Africans aim to rule the roads in Frankfurt. Formula One roars into Mexico, and MotoGP goes full throttle in Thailand. It's all happening on the big weekend, only on your World of Champions.
It's life-changing. It's Africa's major. It's a big deal to this entire country.
Well, down to 3 women now. It is Glenrose Akaba in the colours of a Boxer Running Club. Maure Dibaba, the fastest lady in the field, 2 hours, 19 minutes and 52 seconds. The short athlete just behind Glenrose Akaba. And then Pascalia Chepkogai from Kenya, who's only got a personal best from back in 2019 of 2 hours and 33 minutes. So she is really operating at a tempo she's never been at before. And like you said, Mosibodi, what can happen in that final 10 kilometers? You can go from feeling so good.
That's why it's called a marathon. That's precisely why it's called a marathon. And the grimace on the face of the pacemaker tells the story of men who are starting to tire. The women looking fresh though. These men though starting to tire but still looking oh so good. And it's these two, the two that have been looking good for the business end of this 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. Tola, I beg your pardon, against Adani Kibede, the defending champion, against the man with a 2:05 personal best run last year. Only a 62 half marathon best run at that Adizero Road to Records, but certainly this man is much better than that personal best over the half marathon suggests, and he's looking pretty comfortable. Adane struggling more and more than he was earlier on.
Most definitely, and if you look at that current men's course record belonging to Stephen Mokoka from South Africa, 2 hours, 8 minutes and 31 seconds back in 2018. When these men went through the 35 kilometer mark, their projected tempo is 2 hours, 8 minutes and 3 seconds. So we are on course for a new course record. A lot can happen in that final 7 kilometers. Could they pick it up? Could we see perhaps a 2:07 marathon run today on the streets of Cape Town? If they can run that time, it will be the fastest ever on South African soil. as we see that Abdisa Tola Adera, the tall gentleman in the front, 146.17 was that split through there. Adane Kebede Gebre, your defending champion, in a second place. And the men here really running quite fast on the streets of Cape Town. It is fairly windy today, so given these conditions, the men, especially after that beginning 2:14 splits in the first 10 kilometers, are really hotting up the action here.
The pace is hotting up as the wind dies down, and I think the weather conditions have contributed to this, because it was quite windy when we started, but somewhere during the day the Cape started to play along and the wind just died down, allowing these men to push. Now here they run into Greenpoint. It is a wonderfully energetic part of the city of Cape Town, a wonderful place to have a coffee after your run, have something to drink, wonderful restaurants as well. They won't have time for that as they head out into that final loop now with just about, well, less than 15 minutes to run. So it's going to be a fast finish, and I think that 2:07 will certainly happen now, because look at the cadence of Tola. He's trying to break Adane Kibede now struggling to hang on more than before, and I think this could be a decisive move. His head bobbing more than it usually does. Tola is making Adane Kibede pay.
He is making him pay indeed, and we always say that there's that thin elastic band that separates the two athletes, and when the surges start happening, that band gets extended, and once it breaks, it is so hard to get back to that. And you can see your defending champion there in the second place. He is really struggling. Tola is looking very good indeed, and I think we may see a 2:07 finish today.
I think we'll see a 2:07, but what's happening here is what happened last year. Adane Kibede did the same thing, snaking behind the lead man. On that occasion, it was Stephen Mukoka as he tried to get away from him. So he's making sure that he stays in his slipstream. If he takes half a step, half an inch to the other side of the road, he tracks him. So he's hanging on for dear life. But he managed to do this last year and outsprint Mukoka. Can he do it again if he can hang on for another 15 minutes of hard running? As we look at the women's race now, where Glenrose Kaba is still in there tucked in, so is Dibaba, and so is Chepkerui. Those three well and clear. The podium decided in the women's race, but how will they fare? As the pacemaker glances over his shoulder there just to get an idea of how they're doing, and he says, nods his head, which means that they're still happy with the pace. This one again, another course record lined up for the women's race.
And Glenrose Akaba on pace currently for a new South African record in the marathon. And right next to her, she is running next to running royalty, so to speak. That is Mare Dibaba, 2:19:52 marathon PB, all the way back in Dubai in 2012. So 12 years ago, just shows the longevity of Mare Dibaba's career. She got the first position at the World Championships back in 2015, taking that World Championships title. She followed that up with a bronze medal at the Rio Olympics. If you remember that day, it was very hot and humid in Rio de Janeiro, and since then she hasn't been much in action. She picked up a third place podium spot at the Berlin Marathon back in 2019, but Mare Dibaba that we have known is certainly back in fine form. But Glenrose Kaba looking very good.
Glenrose Kaba running in rarefied air alongside former world champion, and I think this is a really good performance from Dibaba, because especially when you have produced perhaps your best more than 5, 6, 7 years ago, you can get written off, and to run this well in the latter stages of a marathon means that whatever happens here, she's still likely to finish around the 2:23-ish mark, maybe 2:24 if she blows, maybe 2:22 if she goes quite a lot better, but that would be a really strong comeback from an athlete who maybe some people would have said her best days are behind her. So impressive performance from Dibaba, as well from Chepkerui, just making her first few steps over the marathon distance. But this one here, Glenrose Kaba, a marathon debut, will go down as one of the most memorable marathon debuts ever made by a South African athlete as we now have a look at the men's race. Now that tells a story. The open mouth tells a story, and he is really struggling. Once you start breathing through your mouth in a marathon, it means that you are taking very serious strain, and you can see it, the grimace, the eyes, the open mouth. And what Tola needs to do now is put him to bed for one last time with a punishing surge. If he throws in a fartlek now, you think this should be the end of Adani Kibede. But then again, that's what the marathon's about. And this man Kibede looks like he's tough.
And if there's a man who knows how to suffer in the marathon, it is Adani Kibede. As you rightfully mentioned earlier, Mosibodi, that he did this exact same thing last year. It looked like he was getting dropped by Stephen Mokoka, but he came through and he took that victory. But to me, Tola right now looking very, very good. As we mentioned before, he is the younger brother of Tamara Tola, your current Olympic men's marathon champion and new Olympic record setter there. Ran a very, very fast time over that challenging course in Paris. And if there's any indication, the Tola brothers do train together. So you know that if Tamara Tola is in good shape, then his younger brother is in even greater shape here on the streets of Cape Town. And you can see a little bit there, they mentioned a few words, there's some words being exchanged between the two, and the pace is starting to slow down a little bit, but you can see also quite windy right now.
Abdisa Tola up against Adani Kibede, the two men from Ethiopia on the streets of Cape Town, going hammer and tongs, shoulder to shoulder. The defending champion Kibede is struggling now as Tola threw in a punishing surge, but he's managed to hang on, and perhaps those words that they shared were a little bit to say, hey, give me a moment, I need to catch my breath. And if that's what he's saying, that is not what he should be doing. He should be taking him to the House of Pain once more. And as we say that, now he starts to accelerate slightly.
And you can see this pace has definitely slowed down as they make their way back onto Main Road. A little bit of a turn behind there by Tola, looking where Tafa is, who was in that third position. And these men, don't be careful, they could be caught by Tafa, who himself was looking very, very strong.
I think they're probably waiting for the turn, and when they turn, they'll have the wind at their backs. And if marathon tactics are anything to go by, if I can see this man here, Tola, I think when they turn, he will throw in another big surge with the wind at his back and look to drop the tensions of Kibede once and for all. So possibly when they make that turn and head into that loop, we can expect a big surge.
Expect a big surge indeed, and that's what we saw happen in last year's Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. As we see on the right hand side of the picture there, still two male pacemakers for this group of three women, and that is Glenrose Akaba, Mare Dibaba, and Pascalia Chepkogai. And on the left, is that another surge there by Tola?
Definitely another surge, another fartlek. You can see by the look in his eye that he's deep in concentration. He's in the flow zone. He's making the man behind him work, and this man is using every ounce of strength, every sinew of muscle to drive his body forward and make sure that he doesn't get dropped, that he doesn't separate. So there they are, 39 kilometers, about to make the turn, and then they'll come back all the way just along that yellow line, 3 kilometers of running until they get to the finish line. But that's a particularly fast section of the course there on your right, because they have the wind at their backs, and it's slightly, ever so slightly downhill. Also, there's a little bit of support there because it is the very famous Sea Point Promenade where all the most beautiful, gorgeous people are. But this morning, they will have no time for vanity, but will be there to encourage these two men home. And I think once they turn there, they'll get a lot of encouragement, and that is precisely the moment to burn off the attentions of a man you no longer want beside you.
And Tola in the front, the taller of the two, coming off that victory in Dubai last year in January 2023. He has not run a race since then, so the man is very, very fresh. Adane, on the other hand, your defending champion from last year's Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, finished 4th earlier this year in the Xiamen Marathon in China, running 2:09. But as you mentioned there, Mosibodi, you called that so correctly. They made that turn, they both looked to the right-hand side to see just how far Tafa was behind them. And I think this is another surge now by Tola. They are now effectively in the home straight.
in the home stretch, charging for home. 3 kilometers of running to go. 3 kilometers to decide who is the champion. Less than 3 kilometers to decide, as we see the First Lady coming home in the wheelchair race. And another fabulous victor here, celebrating a moment to cherish. Victor of the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon in the women's wheelchair race.
Well, there is Nomi Alfonse from Mauritius, your champion of the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. But just as we make the way back to the men's race, there is a break by Tola. Could this be the final nail in the coffin, so to speak, of Adane? Or can he come back like he did last year? This could be the winning move.
This is the winning move. It looks like the winning move. Look at the head of Adane. It has been moving from side to side throughout the race, but now it's worse than ever before. Tola has to make him pay. Abdisa Tola knows that this is his chance for victory, and this is a good chance because the taller man will benefit from the use of his longer stride. As they climb slightly, you can see there he goes away from him, and as they go downhill, then Kibede will try to close that gap, and he really is struggling. The key sign here is, does Kibede look over his shoulder? The minute he looks over his shoulder will mean that he is settling for second and making sure he doesn't take third, and I think that's the move. This is the time now. Tola knows that the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon title is all in his hands.
That is your leader right now, Abdisa Tola Abera, the Dubai Marathon champion of 2023. I think this is the final winning move of the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. I wouldn't write Adane Kibede off just yet though, because we saw him do this exact same thing in last year's race, where he clawed his way back to Stephen Makoka. But as we make our way towards the 40-kilometer mark, it is all about Abdisa Tola Adera right now in the colors of Adidas, looking very, very good. And we'll have to see that 40-kilometer split just to see if he is still on course for that course record of 2 hours, 8 minutes and 31 seconds. But you can see there on the right-hand side of the picture, still your leading 3 women, with the pacemakers still doing a great job. But I must say, amongst the 3, Glenrose looking by far the best, running her debut.
Right up on the top of her toes is how Glenrose Kaba runs in that Puma strip of hers. Right up on the top of the toes, and she's maintained that wonderful leg turnover throughout the race. It's the leg turnover of someone who's dominated the track, the cross country and the roads this season here in South Africa, and now is doing the same thing against quality opposition from the best parts of East Africa.
We'll wait for this, Mosebodi, to hear the split as we see there 1 hour, 58 minutes and 20 seconds at the 35-kilometer mark. Glenrose Kaba still there. Glenrose currently is on a pace for 2 hours, 22 minutes and 40 seconds. We could well see the course record being totally obliterated on the streets of Cape Town, as well as Gadestein's national marathon record.
Wouldn't break the national record, would smash the national record, would Glenrose Kaba. And interestingly enough, speaking at the Spa Grand Prix just a couple of weeks ago in Joburg, which Glenrose Kaba became the first South African to win since 2018, Gadestein wished her luck and said that if anyone can break her record, she believes that Glenrose Kaba can do it. Given the form she currently enjoys and given the work she's put in over the years, this is a testament to a slow process that has happened over years, that she is managing to make this wonderful marathon debut. Remember that she started with Brasponch Michael Seme and is now under the guidance of Casta and Violet Semenya. As we look at this man here, has he won? Is Kibede too far in the distance? Or maybe the job is done? Tola now starts to move. Tola knows that he just needs to maintain this cadence, because the key thing is, once you hold the lead this late into the race, all you have to do is maintain, because the man behind you must run faster. I'm not sure that Kibede can do that now.
Not sure he can do that. This is your defending champion here, Kebede, who is in the second place, and he is trying his hardest, but a little look behind can tell that he is struggling. And that's a 40-kilometer split of just a shade over 2 hours and 1 minute for our leading athlete, who here he is Abdisa Tola. The projected tempo there, 2:01:21 through the 40-kilometer. He is on a current projected tempo of 2 hours, 8 minutes and 2 seconds. So we are well on our way to seeing course records in both the men's and women's race today, as well as a national record, should Glenrose Akaba be able to hang on for that final 5 kilometers. But currently as it stands, we are looking at record-breaking days on a windy day in Cape Town, as well as the fastest marathon ever run on South African soil.
Could we see the first 2:07 in sub-Saharan Africa? This man will let us know in exactly 3 minutes' time. Abdisa Tola leading the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon with less than 2 kilometers to go. About a mile of running, a mile of distance running, and he will have to run under 2:08 to become the first man to ever run 2:07 right here south of the Sahara Desert on this African continent. And wouldn't it be wonderful that an African runner from the Horn of Africa comes to this part of Africa to run the very first 2:07, and it looks like it could happen today. All he has to do is keep up this pace, because he is borderline. He's right now on about 2:08, 02, 03, 04. He needs to move. He's going to smash the course record on 2:08:31, but can he run 2:07 is the question. If any man can do it, it's Abdisa Tola.
It's Abdisa Tola indeed, and it is a full running family. His older brother Tamara Tola, 2 Olympic medals, a bronze in 2016 over the 10,000 meter distance. Of course, that marathon gold in a new Olympic course record a few months back in Paris. And just to show you the effect that both Abdisa Tola and your defending champion in second, you can see there at the back of the picture, Adane Kebede, have made on this field. Between 35 to 40 kilometers, they have put a minute on the third place athlete, Miktu Tafa Dekeba, who has been much of the race up front. As you can see, that Adidas singlet now blowing quite strong there with this wind. But he's tucking in, he's giving it all that he has, and he is within the final kilometer of making history on the road to Cape Town today.
He's burning them with the pace. Aisha Leompasha, Abdisa Tola is flying, and we're just somewhere close to a 2:07. The question here is, where will we end up? Will we see 2:07:59 or will we see 2:08:02? I think the course record is gone. I think we can accept that the mark set by Stephen Mukoka in the year 2018 of 2:08:31 will be eclipsed today. The question is, can Abdisa Tola become the first man on planet Earth to run a 2:07 marathon in sub-Saharan Africa? He glances over his shoulder, perhaps not a good sign, meaning that he's starting to take some strain, because we need him to mount a very strong finish over these last 400 meters to make sure that he runs 2:07. So soon he's going to turn left, and once he turns left, he's on to the finishing straight.
In the final stages of the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, and it is Abdisa Tola who is on his way to not only claim victory, but perhaps run the fastest time ever on a South African soil, that 2:07 time he is chasing. But do you think he's going to put in a little bit of a surge towards the end, or do you think he's just giving it as much as he can right now, because the victories are going to be the most important thing?
I think once he turns left and hits that blue carpet, he'll be able to sprint. Do not be fooled by that shot. The second place Adane Kebede is further away than he looks. Those are our beautiful pictures brought to you here on the World of Champions, which make him look a little bit closer than he is. So don't worry, he's looking back, but he's only looking back to make sure that no one is going to sprint him into the finish line. So the victory is assured for Abdisa Tola. Look at the clock, though, 2:07:48 now. We want to see a 207.59. Can he mount a final surge here as he gets onto the finishing straight? Will we see a 208? I think 208 is the time we'll see. 207 is gone, but it will be a new course record. What a fabulous performance by the Ethiopian. Abdisa Tola, 205 in Dubai, comes to Cape Town and wins the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon in a new course record. Take a bow, Tola.
Phenomenal race there by Abdisa Tola as your second place athlete comes through. The defending champion from last year's Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, Adane Kebede. Hats off to you, Adane, for hanging on for that second place just outside the previous course record as well.
Fabulous run from these two men from Ethiopia, and you have to congratulate Adane Kibede as well for holding on as long as he did. He didn't make Tola's work easy, and I think were it not for Kibede, Tola would have been content to run 208.40 or whatever, but because he was pressed, because Kibede hung on, he had to run faster, and Tola delivers a course record here at the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, and Kibede comes in for second. As we see, the man who was there for so long, he really struggled over the last 3 or 4 kilometers.
It just shows the effect that it's had on these athletes, and this is Mitku Tafa Tigebe, who has really, for much of this race, really pushed the pace up front over the first half of the race, especially as we saw him running together with Stephen Mokoka, who stopped at the halfway mark. Bear in mind, he was here to do a job, Stephen Mokoka, he was the pacemaker, so not stopping as per se, of not finishing today, that was always the goal for him, just to get the guys on pace. And he's done a good job. He's paced them on the way to smashing his course record.
And looks like we could get 3 men under 210 here. If Atafa can just press these last 20 meters, we could get 3 men under 210. Maybe we'll just miss it, but it's a fabulous performance in any case. It is a brilliant dogged performance, especially over those last 3 kilometers, and crosses the finish line inside 2:10.20 for a wonderful finish and a clean sweep of the podium by the Ethiopians at the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon.
And an Ethiopian 1, 2, 3 on that podium, as we see Edward Kunyo from Kenya coming through for the 4th place. And you can see the man in the colors of X-Step coming through here. We didn't see much of him in the first half, relatively running at the back of the pack, but he's hung on for a well-deserved 4th place. And I think, Mostigodi, once the athletes come through to the finish, we're going to see some surprising names in the top 10, because you always see over the last 5 kilometers of the marathon, everything can change.
Precisely, and then the question that many will be asking is, when will the first South African come home, and who will that first South African be coming home, perhaps after Kenya's Konyo now, who crosses the line in 4th place?
Well, we should be seeing Melikaya France soon, because at the 40-kilometer mark, Melikaya France was only 4 seconds behind Edward, and there he is, your first South African, Melikaya France, with Oscar, the Ugandan athlete, just behind. But in the back of the picture, sprinting through, just taking a glance of that watch, is South Africa's Desmond Mokobu. I don't think he's going to catch Melikaya. Melikaya's done enough. As you can see him asking the crowd, come on guys, bring the cheers up, I'm the first South African, and credit to him, he's a man who, when it slowed down a little bit after the halfway mark, really pushed things. And credit to both Michael Mbambani, his coach, and Melikaya France back in action.
Good to see Melikaya France running strong again, finishing with a smile on his face. Well done to Michael Mbambani and his team, because it looked like this man had gone off the boil, running 2:15 earlier on this year, struggling at the Milan Marathon in Italy. Runs 2:12, so that will lift his confidence again. 2:09 at his best, and there's his coach, Michael Mbambani, who led the South African marathon team at the Olympic Games there. It gives him a big embrace there, and 2:12 shows that he's back in charge. So top 5 men all in, and 6 Melikaya France, the South African, and 8 it looks like Desmond Mokobu, trained by Henry Gramala. He is 8 in the top 10. Now to the women's race where a course record remains on the cards here. The three are still there, and Benedict Moeng, who had paced for so long, has left the race, and looks like the last of the male pacemakers is struggling now. They will leave him behind, and these three will go now. Glendrose Kaba, Basila Chepkerui, and Mari Dibaba, all moving together. And who will win this? Who is looking best? Who is looking hungry? Who has the desire? Who has the strength? Who has the passion to go all the way? Who scored eyes?
Wow.
Who is your money on?
I'm a dent. At one stage I became a bit of a Dibaba fan. She just had been below the radar the whole race. In that lead pack, but below the radar. And now I'm not sure who to.
Let's get down to the finish line, where Leanne is talking to our winner.
Well, I'm here at the finish line with the podium. It's an all-Ethiopian podium. What a fantastic performance today we had. And our winner, Abdisa Tola Adera. Abdisa, tell us a little bit about the race. Obviously, things really heated up as you came through the last 10 Ks or so. What was the turning point for you?
አብዲሳ ነገሮች በጣም ቴንስ ነበሩ፣ በጣም ከባድ ነበሩ። በተለይ የመጨረሻዎቹ 10 ኪሎ ሜትሮቹ ውጥረት የበዛባቸው ነበረ እና እንዴት ነበረ የተሰማ? እንዴት አገኘው?
ውድድሩ አሪፍ ነበር። ነገር ግን አየሩ በጣም ይከብዳል፣ ንፋስ ነበረ። ግን ደግሞ በጣም ስለተዘጋጀሁት ያው እንደማያሸንፍ እርግጠኛ ሆኜ ነው መጣሁት። ምንም ቢሆን ቻሌንጁ ቢበዛ ያው ከዛ በላይ ስለተዘጋጀሁት ፈጣሪ ይመስገን። ስለዚህ ያሰብኩትን ደግሞ ስለሆነልኝ እሱ ይመስገን።
Okay, the race was really tough. The wind was tough. At the same time, I was really prepared and I was excited and felt confident. I thank God. Things went well, and I finally made it.
Well, of course, we saw the top two finishing in a course record. A defending champion also breaking that course record. You really looked like you were in pain the last 5 Ks or so.
የመጨረሻውን 5 ኪሎ ሜትሮች ደህና ትመስል ነበረና እንዴት ነበረ?
አይ አየሩ በጣም አሪፍ ነው። ልጁ በጣም ሰርቷል። ለዛ ነው አንድ ላይ የሰራ ነው። በጣም ትሬኒንግ ሰርተን ነው መጣ። ለዛ ነው ያሸነፈ። በጣም ደስ ብሎኛል።
So the weather was okay for me, but at the end of the day, whoever prepared well will do well. So my competitor was more prepared, therefore he won it, and I'm also happy with my result.
Congratulations to our podium. Ethiopia 1, 2, 3 and a new course record.
So congratulations to our winning man in the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, Abdisa Tola, with Kibede coming second. Now back to the women's race, where the pacemakers have been jettisoned with, and it's these three. It's Glendrose Kaba of South Africa, it's Pasmida Chepkogai of Kenya, and it's the former world champion Dibaba of Ethiopia. These three, who's taking it?
Oh, they're impossible to pull. They all look so good. They look so good. Glenrose threw in a surge while we were chatting to the men's winner. Glenrose threw in a surge to try and get away, but she hasn't got away. Who's the quickest in the last 400 meters? I mean, we could go down to that. Who's the best sprinter? Would it be Glenrose? But how much has her legs been killed by the 42 Ks they've run?
So the question is, both records still on the cards. There you see the South African women's marathon record of 2:24:03 set by Gerda Steen last year at the Valencia Marathon in December. That looks like it will go. And 2:24:02 is the course record set here back in 2022. So we could see Glendrose Kaba not only setting a new course record, but setting a new national record and winning a marathon on debut.
That would be sensational. We could see her setting a new SA record and not winning. That's how fast this race is. Unbelievable. It's just impossible to, you're looking at first, second, and third, but who's going to be the first to let go?
Have you ever been in a sprint finish? What wins it in a sprint finish? In a race where you've raced 40 kilometers and now you have to run hard for the last 200 meters.
Not the one who wants it the most, the one who wants to lose the least. there's a difference. The one who wants to lose the least. Who does it matter to most? And Glen Rose again. Okay, so now we've got a possible break with the Kenyan runner dropping slightly to the back, not bothering to take a drink, just focused on driving for the line. I would fancy Glen Rose in a sprint. You know, she's the 5,000, 10,000 runner. I would fancy her in a sprint, but okay. I think we've got our Kenyan runner has dropped back.
Yeah, Jenko Guy.
For third. Jenko Guy has settled for third.
Correct. Jenko Guy has been dropped. She slowed down at the refreshment station. She glances at the watch. She's accepted that she'll be on the podium and says, third is good enough for me, but not good enough for Dibaba, not good enough for Tlaba. And coming down to the sprint finish, Glendrose Tlaba this season in particular, when she started the year, showed good form over 800 meters, showed that she could run under 2:10 for 800 meters. So she's still got some pretty handy speed over the short distance, but perhaps Dibaba has the experience.
Has the experience, and she has just looked so relaxed. As I said earlier, she was always been there, but somehow been there, but below the radar. We haven't spoken about her much in the early stages, and now she's making a concerted bid for the win. This is unbelievable racing. Don't get up. Don't get out. Just stay in front of your television. Don't go and make a cup of coffee or tea now. Watch this. This is going to be sensational. And you know, one doesn't like to think of it in financial terms, but the amount of money you can lose now by not winning. You could break the course record and break the SA record and not win.
Precisely. $15,000 for a new course record, $25,000 for the victory, and now Glendrose Tlaba is breaking ahead. She is surging ahead. She is spearing ahead of Mare Dibaba, the Ethiopian. This would be a day to remember. The day when Glendrose Tlaba made her marathon debut and became the first South African woman in many, many, many years since Annie Botma to win the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. Glendrose Tlaba looking like the champion.
And that elastic band has snapped. It's snapped, she's gone. And Dibaba settled for second. You can see she has settled for second. This will be now, this last running, this is on emotion. This is on emotion. Hopefully the spectators, the crowd that are there will be screaming for her. This is a home win. Come on, South Africa. This is a great bit of sprinting. Can you imagine your marathon debut and you get the course record and possible South African record?
Glendrose Tlaba, yeah, is definitely moving away. That gap has grown from 5 to 10, 10 to 15 in just a matter of a minute. Glendrose Tlaba pumping those arms, and look at the cadence. She's up on the toes of her feet. She's catching some of the men who are finishing the race. Some of pretty handy men who will be running around the 2:25 mark. So Glendrose Tlaba now knows that she will win it. She said that all she wants to do is finish the race, and what a way to finish.
She's going to finish. She's definitely going to finish, but she's going to finish first. And that's just astonishing. What a run.
So 2024 proving to be the year of Glendrose Dimakatso Tlaba, as we see a pretty handy male athlete there. That's one of the Smeko brothers there, who is a decent athlete over the marathon distance. But Glendrose Tlaba is making short work of him, I beg your pardon, because Glendrose Tlaba knows that 2024 is her year. A year in which she won national titles over 5,000 and 10,000. Over 10 kilometers and a half marathon, set a new national record over 10 kilometers, eclipsed a mark which had been set by the great Ilana Meyer 23 years ago. 31:12 over 10K she did in the Absa University Durban 10K. Now she makes her marathon debut, and now she feels the euphoria of the crowd, sprinting towards the finish. First time over 42.2 kilometers. She comes, she smashes the SA record, a new course record, and emerges victorious. The champion, at the first time of asking, is Glendrose Dimakatso Tlaba of the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon.
What a moment, what a moment. She can't believe it, what a moment. Just waves of emotion. Can you believe it? I've done it, my debut marathon. She's going to say everything they said about the marathon is true in words.
Good second place from Mare Dibaba of Ethiopia. She gave it her all as Glendrose Tlaba takes the hugs and the kisses from her guide, her mentor, her coach, Violet Semenya, and a very good run from Chepkopkai of Kenya. All three women inside the previous course record.
Yeah, incredible. You can't ask somebody to do more than that. Break the previous record and you still don't win. Break the record and you end up third.
So a magical moment there. Glendrose Kaba takes the embrace of the organizers. And what does it feel like to have the towel put around you, Bruce Fairbanks?
It feels wonderful. I can't remember, a long time ago, but yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful moment. But I think probably the best is the tape, when you see that tape in front of you and you break it.
So there it is, it's confirmed. The victor of the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon is Glendrose Kaba, and she does so not only in a new course record, but in a new SA record. 2:24:03 was the previous mark, and Glendrose Kaba has smashed that by over a minute. She is victorious. So 4 women across the finish line. There's our second place, Mare Dibaba, the former world champion. A really good run, and I'm impressed with someone who can run 2:22 and 2:19, 12 years apart. That's really something.
She still has it. She proves she still has it.
Well, we got the shock of our lives.
Yes. That jet went straight over our heads. Sorry, we just stopped talking. We weren't sure if we were being dive bombed there.
So that fighter jet, celebrating Glendrose Kaba's victory. She has ascended to the throne that was left vacant by Ilana Meyer. Let's hear what she has to say, chatting to Leanne.
Well, Glendrose Kaba, that was absolutely incredible. You've come out and you have taken the South African record on debut. What does that mean to you?
I don't know. I'm very excited with my first debut. Yeah, at 33, I feel it that now I run more than what I used to run. But I just focused because my pacemaker was there. And it says, when he came out at 35, at 36, said focus, keep going. So I told the pacemaker that was left that you need to push the pace, don't drop it. So at 40K, I saw Dibaba pass, then I just look at, because I know that I have speed, I need just to focus. I'm almost to the finish. Marathon is take mental and heart if you want to run it.
I think that is in your honor that plane is flying so low over here. But Glendrose, absolutely fantastic. You've mentioned already that you went into the unknown. I mean, at 33 kilometers, that was the furthest you'd ever run. Was it bad? Did you really have to dig deep?
No, it was not bad because I used to run sub 10 all the way in 10Ks. Then in 21 I used to run sub 20. So we start with sub 25, sub 30. Then we face with a lot of wind. Then we keep on 3:30 until we go for sub 3:30 again. Then we go for sub 3:20. I know that it is very fast for them. They weren't able to stay long.
So what more is there for you? I mean, you've got the 10K national record. You also are the national champion at 21. Now you've just set the record for the marathon. What more?
What more is to focus, to be consistent in my running and do great so that the young ones that look up to me, they can motivated and do well.
Well, we saw Violet Semenya here at the finish embracing you, and she was watching you in that last kilometer. Caster's here as well. How much has their support and mentorship meant to you?
I can say that it means a lot because I have my team here, my coaches, Caster and Violet, and my physios, Randy and Anita. They look after me so that the boat can get ready, and to my 3 pacemaker from training. So it means a lot for me to get the support, and at home, my mom and my grandmom and my fans and my supporters. Thank you guys and my training teammates. You motivate me to do great all the time.
What's your plan now going forward?
The plan for now is just rest and do the last 5K for Boxer to give back to Boxer because it's the one that take care of me throughout January until December. So I need to give back to that 5K. Then I get enough rest so that I can become fresh for next year.
Any plans to take on the ultra marathon distance?
No, ultra for now for me is far. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful chatting to you. You've entertained us today and you are a star.
Thank you so much.
Well, that is your 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon winner, Glenrose Akaba. A brilliant debut, smashing the course record as well as that South African record by Gerda Steyn. But beautiful shots there of Cape Town, and not to forget, don't forget to look after that environment. The Earthshot Prize funding solutions to repair our planet is coming to Cape Town on the 6th of November. Join us live from 6:30 and see who and what is making a difference to help our planet. The beautiful shots here of the finish of the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, and these are the unofficial results from earlier today. Abdisa Tola, the younger brother of Olympic marathon champion Tamara Tola, coming to South Africa for his first time and taking a new victory, a new course record in 2 hours, 8 minutes and 16 seconds, with defending champion Adane Kebede finishing second, with Mitku Atafa making it a 1-2-3 for Ethiopia in third. South Africa's Melikaya France, the first South African to finish in 2 hours, 12 minutes and 18 seconds.
And great to see 3 South Africans in the top 10. Fantastic.
Desmond Mokobu in 8th, and Pusaletso Mofokeng rounding off that top 10. Those 3 South Africans. 2 hours, 13 minutes and 31 seconds, unofficially your 10th place finisher. In the women's race, it was all about Glenrose Akaba at the end, who ran a brilliant debut marathon, unofficially 2 hours, 22 minutes and 22 seconds, a new course record and a new national record for South Africa, with Amare Dibaba finishing second in 2 hours, 22 minutes and 36 seconds, with Pascalia Chepkogai from Kenya rounding off the podium, 2 hours, 22 minutes and 49 seconds, the first 4 women all ahead of that former course record.
So just lining up here for the prize giving. They will be awarded their prizes, their checks, and of course, because we are in the Cape, a wonderful bouquet of proteas, the native plant of this part of the world. In the fynbos is where you get all those wonderful king proteas that grow out here on the nutrient poor soils that grow as a result of fire adapted species, and they will get those wonderful bouquet of proteas.
22:49 coming out of Kenya, Pascalia Chepkegoi. In second place, an icon of running in 2 hours, 22 and 36 seconds. Give it up for Mare Hurasa Dibaba. And Sanzi, let's hear it, because in a brand new course record, South African record, I give you your champion in 2024, Glenrose Akaba, 2:22:22.
she is. Glenrose Supercharger Taba supercharges the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon and underscores her status as South Africa's very best female distance runner of this current generation. Went through difficult times about 2 or 3 years ago, suffered with injury and considered giving up the sport. But thanks to the support she got from Casta and Violet Semenya, the wonderful love and the commitment she got from her club as well, the Boxer Athletic Club, as well as her personal brands and sponsors, Glenrose Kaba has emerged victorious today, has set yet another national record. 10 kilometers earlier on this year, 42 kilometers today. Glenrose Dimakatso Kaba Warmakata with a fabulous performance. 2 hours, 22 minutes and 22 seconds. The prize giving now for the men's race, and this was one in which the Ethiopians swept the podium, absolutely swept the podium. And the man in the center of picture, if he looks familiar, that's because he is from the Tola dynasty of distance running. He emerged victorious today, 2:05 in Dubai to win last year, 2:08 in a new course record this time around, and he defeated the defending champion Kibede. What a race it was.
What a race indeed. Abdisa Tola taking that course record, still an official time of 2 hours, 8 minutes and 16 seconds ahead of the defending champion Kibede, with Mitku Tafa finishing in that 3rd place. And really, hats off to Tafa. I could say that he also made the race. He was the one after when Melikayo France threw in that big surge just before 25 kilometers. It was Tafa who tried to keep grinding it out there. And I wonder if perhaps Tola will share any of that additional $15,000 prize money with any of his fellow countrymen for helping him in a way to get that course record.
The short answer to that is nooit, never, no. So I don't think that will happen, but it was a fabulous race and such great competition. And the 2:08 new course record time is not to be underestimated, because the first 10 kilometers were markedly slow as the wind really kicked up at the start of this 2024 edition of the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. They really ran the last third in particular of this race very quickly.
In 2:08.16.
So we see the pictures of Adane Kibede, the 2nd place athlete who won last year. Credit to him for coming back. But this is your champion of 2024, your new Sanlam Cape Town Marathon course record holder, Abdisa Tola. It runs in the family indeed. His brother earlier this year taking a victory in that Olympic Games marathon in Paris, smashing the championship record. And now he's handed the baton over to Abdisa, who now also leaves Cape Town with a new course record.
So it's been a magical day where the weather gods threatened to spoil our party, but these runners said no and delivered course records in both the women's and men's races. In the women's race, we saw South Africa, Kenya and Ethiopia on the podium. In this one, it's all Ethiopian. They swept the podium here, and the man on top of the podium in a time of 2:08.16 is Abdisa Tola. Kibede seems to be a little bit worse for wear, and that's because Tola delivered surge after punishing surge. He wants to leave the stage. You can see he's still in pain, but they say, hey, hang on for the photo. Hang on for the photo, please, sir. And he tries to force a smile, but you can see that that 2nd place took a lot out of him. He'll be happy though. He is a little bit richer now than he was earlier this morning. Before we get to Kriya out on the road, let's catch up with the prize giving of the women's wheelchair race. And this is the one that was concluded earlier on this morning. And the young lady coming all the way from Mauritius, Alphonse, won the race. And 1, 2 and 3 here deciding the wheelchair race for women. Now this is one of the commitments that has been made by the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon in order to be included as a candidate race for the World Marathon Majors, you must have a top-class wheelchair race. And so it has been encouraging to see this race develop and has gotten better. And certainly the course has also been adjusted to take out some of the really significant hills that would hamper a very good wheelchair race. And I think it can only grow from strength to strength. A smallish field this time around, but I think we can expect more and more of the top wheelchair athletes from around the world coming down to Cape Town to take part in the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, because as much as it's a marathon, it's also an opportunity to see one of the best cities on planet Earth.
Well, there is your champion, Michelle Wheeler from the United States, and her winning time unofficially 2 hours, 3 minutes and 22 seconds. And although in a wheelchair, Mosibodi, still to cover this course in a pace of 2:57 per kilometer, that's phenomenal what these ladies are doing. So you see a little bit of a selfie action going there, and you can guarantee that will be on Michelle Wheeler's Instagram come later this afternoon.
Yeah, if it ain't on the gram, then it didn't happen. So they know that they've done it for the gram. And now here is the official one. The official one comes after the one for the gram. Done, and gorgeous smiles all around. Fabulous performances. So as they stream across the finish line, we celebrate the finishers of the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, the top three in the men's wheelchair race. And this one was one that gave us everything, because this was an entertaining race, a really entertaining race where we saw Watanabe and the defending champion, skipper of the Netherlands, going head to head. And in the end, it was the man from Japan that triumphed. The man from Japan there, in a sprint finish, it was in the end that he won the race. That tells you that you could not separate them over 42.2 kilometers as they finished a second apart.
They gave us a great race. It was wonderful to watch, unbelievable, and they kept changing the lead. At one stage, Skippers fell far back and then put his way back into the front. So a great race.
42.2 kilometer wheelchair race. And we'll give you those standings. Sho Watanabe wins it in 1 hour 37:33, but the man to just receive his medal there, he is third place, Kota Okinawa of Japan, 1 hour 46 and 18 seconds. He took third place, quite some way behind the first two. And he has a look at his bronze medal. There he is, the defending champion, the man who got into wheelchair racing after being involved in an alpine accident while flying his light aircraft, went into wheelchair racing and won the 2023 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. This time around, just falling short. 1:37:33 was good enough only for second place, but what an entertaining race. Falling behind, catching up again to Watanabe, surging ahead, not being able to drop Watanabe, and eventually Watanabe was the man who won it. Sho Watanabe, 1 hour 37 minutes and 33 seconds. First and second have exactly the same finishing time, but it was Watanabe's chair that finished just ahead of Geert Schippers. Gold and bronze for Japan, silver for the Netherlands. Watanabe is champion of the men's wheelchair race at the 2024 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon.
Get set for another blockbuster weekend of sporting action as Spanish giants collide in El Clasico. Ilia Topuria's UFC featherweight title is on the line, while the